And welcome back. This time we're gonna do a quick tip of Madolches. Now a lot of you know what Madolches do, so for those of you who don't know what they do, or if those who are just starting to run it and aren't familiar with the deck, let me just go over it with you. First off, Madolche Chateau. Really good card considering all Madolches, they end up going back to your deck when they're sent to the graveyard and they're destroyed by battle or by card effect. What Madolche Chateau does, it prevents them from going back to the deck. Instead, they go back to your hand, which is really good because it allows you to reuse them over and over again. And some of them can actually summon more Madolches as you go. So, good card to use. I suggest running it. Croissant, it's optional, but I wouldn't I just use it to attack. I just don't use it to effect. But you can use it to effect if you want. Pretty much all it does is you can select a face-up Madolche and a Madolche card and return it to the hand. So you can return any Madolche card to your hand and you can increase its level by 1 and attack by 300. So you can make Croissant level 1. You can use it with spells and traps too. I'm not kidding. And then you got Madolche Bapple. It's not recommended, but it's like optional. You can use it if you want. I'm not going to explain it. Butlerisk. Now, if you have another Madolche monster on the field when he is normal summoned, you can add a field spell from your deck to your hand. And usually people go for like the Chateau, which makes things a lot easier. Madolche. Madolche allows you to add a Madolche monster from your deck to your hand when it's normal flipped. And then you can pretty much, if you have the card, if you have like Madolche Palooza, you can summon it right away, summon those monsters right away. And I'll get to that in a minute when I find the card. I just use Giant Rat for the time being just to search for like low attackers, considering most of the Madolches are like 1500 or less attack, even Pudding Sis, despite being at level 5. Madolche Waltz is a great card. You can pretty much inflict damage to your opponent regardless if a Madolche is being attacked or not. So pretty much when a Madolche battles, your opponent takes 300. I don't think it doubles if you have more than one. I'll have to check that out, or if someone finds out, let me know. Madolche Lesson's good, because if your opponent ends up having to attack your monster and it's a low attack points than yours, your monster's has lower attack than your opponent's, you can activate Madolche Lesson and then overpower your opponent by a couple points. Yeah, it's really good, especially if you activate like 2 or 3 of them. You can pretty much just beat down your opponent. Enough said. But it does come at a price though. T-Break, I just run in there for just in case. But yeah, it's best if you have Pudding Sis in there though. Dark Hole, no. Mufule, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Whatever you're. Yeah, so pretty much all this does, it allows you to special summon a Madolche monster from your hand. No questions asked, that's all it does. Chateau, no Chateau, Bapple, no. Chevalier. This is pretty much the Magician's Valkyria of the Madolche set, of the Madolche series. That's pretty much it. Nothing much to explain. Marble Maid. Marble Maid is a good card. You can actually use it to send a Madolche trap spell and trap card in your graveyard and add to your hand. That's all it does. So you can bring Madolche Palooza back. That's when it's normal summon face up. Wait, is it? No, it's when it's flipped face up. Sorry. Messing Gelato, which is an ice cream. And yes, these are all named after desserts. What this does, Messing Gelato only works if you have a beast type monster on the field. You can add a spell trap from your deck to your hand. That's pretty much it. So if you have like Croissant or Mufale or whatever the hell it's called in your deck. I play Mask Restrict in this deck, just because most Madolches are like level 4 or lower. And it helps to keep your opponent's monsters from being tributed. In fact, no cards can be tributed for this because it's a new print. So yeah, not even spells and traps. I already explained Madolche lesson. Shovelin, Mermaid, T-Rake, Mufle, that's Gelato. We'll skip that. Palooza. Great card. You pretty much summon like all your Madolches to the field and then overlay them before they get destroyed. So therefore your Madolche monsters won't leave the field, but they'll be overlaid. So you can overlay them for your Xyz monsters, whatever you got in store. So keep that in mind. It's a good thing to learn. Ticket. This really comes in handy, but if you overload your hand, you're pretty much screwed. So yeah, you can pretty much add a Madolche monster from your deck to your hand. If you have a fairy type, you can special summon it from your deck in face of attack. So it's actually a good card, but it can screw you over if you don't have a fairy type in your field. So just be wary of that, and just make sure you don't overload your hand. Otherwise, you're going to be screwed royally. I also run 2 Madolche Paloozas, just to give you a heads up. Yeah. And that's my nice wrap, by the way. Next up, we go to the Xyz. Now, in here, I put Soul Silver Mountain as a defender, but I use it as a good attacker too. So, I pretty much is good for blocking your opponent's spells and traps and keeping them from being activated. So, I just run it in there just for space. Fairy King Albert Ditch, or whatever it's called. It's good for making all non-earth monsters currently in the field lose 500 attack and defense. Really good for getting past most decks that don't have any earth monsters. So it's just running it. And last but not least, Madolche Queen Tiara Misu. Great card. You can pretty much clear your opponent's field if you have 3 of them on the field. It's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. But you gotta have Madolches prior to the Madolche Queens in the field. So you need like 6 Madolches to bring all 3 out. Otherwise, you're getting nowhere. Also, like I said, beware of the spells and traps and monster effects that can screw you over. Especially ones that negate your summons or banish your monsters. So yeah. We'll see y'all next time, and I'll have another deck reviewed for you. See y'all then.